Welcome to Turning Hard Times to Good Times. I am your host, Jay Taylor. Really pleased to have with me today for the first time Mark Ayranto, or Ayranto. He is the CEO of Silverco Mining Company. It's a story I just recently learned about, and it was really a private company until not too long ago. By a reverse takeover, is now a public company, trades in Canada. And we'll get to the story in just a minute. I also want to tell you that a surprise guest, Chen Lin, is with me. Chen is the silver bull, or at least one of the most, I would say, one of the most aggressive silver bulls that I know. He recently was on with me on my podcast, and it was a very popular uh, event because a lot of people watched it. And so Chen, I'm sure, will jump in. He also is very bullish on Silverco, Mark's company. So before I say hello to both of them, I should tell you that it trades in Canada under the symbol SICO. It has a ticker down here in the States, but doesn't yet trade, I found out myself as I was trying to buy some yesterday. QTZCF, whether it keeps that symbol or not, I don't know, but it will probably be something closer to SICO, the symbol in Canada. Only 32.6 million shares outstanding. And what's really remarkable about this story is maybe 95% of the shares are tightly held. So there's not much of a float out there. And trading just a little under $4 in US money right now. So giving it a market cap close to 130 million in US money. Now, the company does have a historical resource, something on the order of 65 million ounces in a couple of different categories, but it has lots of upside potential, 65 million ounces of silver, I should say. It's not a 43101 compliant resource, but I think Mark and his team will soon make it into one. It is fully permitted for production, and the Cusi mine was actually in production as recently as 2022. So this is a story, I think, a silver story that people are going to wake up to pretty quickly. So I want to thank you, Mark and Chen, for joining me today.
Jay, thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure. And Chen, great to see you.
It's great to see you, and I know you've had a tough time of it. Couldn't find a hotel room in Mexico City, I understand. You're looking pretty good, though, for somebody enduring all of that. So anyway, Mark, you've had a pretty successful, very successful career as an executive running mining projects in the past. What caused you to be interested in joining this story?
Yeah, it's a great question, Jay. I had a real chance. I looked at a whole bunch of projects and uh, weeded through them fairly quickly. This one really stood out for a couple of reasons, and one, it was in recent production, so it's got recent production numbers. You can have a good opportunity to see what it's like. It's got great infrastructure to it. Importantly, it's got the Malpaso mill plus the underground development. That combined is probably $150 million of value
Mhm.
that we were able to acquire, and also not take the time risk as well as the monetary risk in having to build something from start. So those are really attractive things. It comes with great infrastructure as well, roads and power. That, of course, is because it was mining very recently. Um, we acquired it very cheaply, which obviously is great. And um, when I went down to the site, it's quite remarkable. You can get into Cusi very easy. It's in Chihuahua, which is in north central Mexico. It's an easy flight from the U.S. And then when you land in Chihuahua, you've got one hour 20-minute drive right to the mine site. You've got a great labor force there. Importantly, of course, the geology is prime. You're in the Sierra Madres. You can line up Perel and Gatos and Cusi, and you get this like hundreds-kilometer long trend of this really prolific mineralization. Uh, when I was on site, I was very impressed with the team that we'd assembled, as well as just the underground workings. I mean, they're very amenable to near-term restart, and then mostly, in addition to all that, of course, it's permitted. So it's just a great jurisdiction, great people, great asset, and lots of opportunity that we can add real value to in the near term.
Yeah, so the project was in production, the Cusi. Am I pronouncing it right? Cusi, the Cusi mine?
Correct, yeah.
It was in production as recently as 2022. Can you talk to us a little bit about the economics, what and why it closed down or why it stopped producing?
Sure, this was in Sierra Metal's hands at the time. They put it into production in 2014. The Cusi itself has probably a 300-year history of mining, but most
Wow.
recently, Sierra put it into production in 2014, and they were having great success, and they recognized the throughput could increase substantially. So in 2019, they increased the throughput of the mill from 650 tons per day to the current 1,200 tons per day.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately for Sierra at the time, 2020 hit, and we all know what happened. COVID came around,
Mm-hmm.
everybody got shut down, the mill was temporarily suspended operations. And then when Sierra restarted, you just had this falling silver price. Sierra also had an asset in Bolivia they were more focused on.
Mm-hmm.
And what they had elected to do is restart and try to minimize the amount of capital development they put in. And that was successful for a few years. As you noted, Jay, in the last full year production was 2022. Actually went on care and maintenance in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
But that year of production, they did 1.5 million ounces silver equivalent at an AISC of $23 US.
Mm-hmm.
So in spite of not having great production, they still had decent AISC. And importantly, the mill was only operated at a 62%
Right.
capacity
Right.
to achieve that 1.5 million ounces.
Uh-huh.
So we think on a go forward, we'll talk about this in a few minutes, I
Mm-hmm.
suspect, but it's quite reasonable to get the mill up to closer to nameplate, 95%,
Mm-hmm.
focus on grade and stope development underground, and reasonably get the grade up as well as the tons up and get ourselves into the 2.5 million plus per ounce range in terms of annual production.
Right. So basically, what you're talking about is more complete utilization of the mill and the mining capabilities of pulling enough ore to feed that mill enough to get 2.5 million ounces a year. So I'm guessing that your capital costs for getting there are not all that great. I mean, you're going to have to raise some money. I believe, though, I saw that you had pretty much used up your June 30th cash resource. I think by September 30th, it was pretty well gone. You're going to need to raise some money, no doubt, but perhaps not a lot, given the fact that you're going to expand mostly by just using current assets that you have, by fully utilizing them, right?
Yeah, so I think as you mentioned at the beginning, we were private for about 18 months before we did
Mhm.
the RTO. Privately, we raised $25 million.
Uh-huh.
And when we did the RTO, our most uh, up to date, or the financials we used for the RTO process,
Mhm.
that was the June 30th. We had $12.3 million, I believe, at the time.
Yeah.
And we just published our more recent financials, and we were at 8.3 million.
Oh,
We
okay.
have we have drilled 20,000 meters in the time that we were private. We have 2 drills on site currently. So there's no doubt we've put out a lot of news and have had a lot of success. And as you mentioned, we will be looking to restart Cusi.
Mhm.
So we'll have a restart plan come in Q1 of 2026,
Mhm.
and it will have the production profile, the AISC, resulting economics, and we'll also have an startup capital. Um, in addition to that, we would definitely like to continue drilling. We've had a tremendous amount of success, primarily at San Miguel,
Mhm.
but also at these down-thrown blocks that we're seeing to the east of Cusi. So we would definitely like to, and we plan on having a big exploration program. The restart capital, we'll publish that here in Q1. It is
Uh-huh.
going to be modest. I don't have the true number yet because we aren't quite done the work, but it'll be on the order of $15 million US is where we think it lands today.
Mm-hmm.
based on what we know today. So yeah, there will be a need for some additional capital. The great news is the markets are wide open.
Mm-hmm.
We are having a bunch of news. We've got a bunch out. I think Chen was good on getting early into the story, but we'll continue with some really aggressive news flow. We've put out results for all of our 2024 drilling. That was 5,500 meters, and about half of our 2025 drill program. We put out about 8,000 meters of that. So there's still a good chunk of news flow coming. We are going to publish an updated compliant resource in
Mm-hmm.
December, so later this month.
Oh, later this month. Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, and we've taken. Anyway, I think it'll be well received, and like I say, more news flow as we head into 2026. The
Mm-hmm.
wind of the markets for financing are pretty open right now.
Right. Right.
So we'll look at making sure that we want to get our story out. So appreciate Jay. This is part of that. Make
Yeah.
sure that the market knows about the story and the upside.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly we will look at an opportune time to both probably a little bit of debt and tap the equity market.
Mm-hmm.
But we're certainly not obligated to. But if we want to get everything done that we're hoping to, obviously we'll need some more capital.
Right. So your new resource will be obviously will be compliant, 43101 compliant. And do you expect that will be, I mean, you've shown what the historical numbers are. Do you have a sense of whether they will be close to that, larger than that, or what?
Yeah, it's a great question. The historical non-compliant resource was put out in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fairly recent. It was done by SRK. It's a good study. For the purpose of getting the RTO complete, we thought we would validate the historic resource concurrently as we did the RTO. And it's not in our name, so that's the reason it's historic.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a couple things though. Since 2020, Sierra did mine out some of that resource.
Mm-hmm.
So we're netting that out. We are validating the historic resource. As you mentioned, it was 65 million tons and a graded 215 grams per ton silver equivalent. More than half of that is in the M&I category. So we're validating that. I can tell you it is, the validation is going well. The reconciliation looks very strong.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing we have done with the inferred resource, we thought we want to add confidence to that. So we've taken the search ellipsoid,
Mm-hmm.
which is the parameters the software goes out and looks for ounces, and we've cut it in half.
Mm-hmm.
So we've really tightened up on the inferred ounces to make sure they're very real.
Mm-hmm.
Say we've netted out some of the mineralization that was mined out previously, and we've added on to about I think it's 11,000 meters of drilling that we have done, and primarily focused on this San Miguel area to the south,
Mm-hmm.
which was never in Sierra's hands. We were able to acquire it. They're inset claims. We know they have some high grade, and they also have vein widths that are on the order of 2 and 3 meters up to 5 and 6 meters. And what we're really finding, we've published this recently, what we're really finding is that it's opening up at depth.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been exploring it. We're probably, it's open at depth, it's open along strike. We're only down about 320 meters onto the veins. It looks like we've got 4 veins coming together. And it looks very favorable for mining. So, I think we're really excited about getting that into the resource.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the M&I has been reconciling very well. The inferred we downgraded in order to gain confidence in those inferred ounces, and we've added San Miguel. So, all told, I think the market will like it, and like I say, we'll get that out later this month.
So San Miguel will be included in this December resource that you're going to come out with?
Yeah, a portion of it will. Like I say, we still have about 7,000 or 8,000 meters of drilling that did not make the cutoff for the resource.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, we didn't get the assays in time.
Right.
But
Right.
we did get enough in that San Miguel will be, at least the initial San Miguel resource will be included. We think it still has a lot of opportunity to grow.
Yeah, so you should bigger widths and higher grades down at San Miguel, I guess, and that's why. So your focus will be there mostly, I suppose, going forward in terms of exploration. And you indicated that even though you are starting up or restarting production, you'll also be, I guess, aggressively drilling, and I guess that'll have something to do with how much money you raise, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean this is a very prolific piece of property. It's got
Uh-huh.
this rhyolitic tuff that covers, basically 10 kilometers, uh, bounded on the east side by the Cusi Fault, which was previously understood to truncate mineralization. Sierra Metals actually at most recently in their mining came across mineralization to the east of the Cusi Fault.
Right.
And we've been able to follow that up to the north as well as to the south. So
Uh-huh.
there are probably 6 kilometers of strike where
Uh-huh.
we have demonstrated mineralization carries across the fault to the east. And really what we believe is that the Cusi Fault was post-mineralization, and to the east of this rhyolitic tuff, you've got these down-thrown blocks.
Right.
So in an epithermal system, that's important. We're encountering this mineralization about 250 meters depth. That's where it's starting across the Cusi Fault.
Uh-huh.
And importantly, though, it is still higher up in the epithermal system, and that's really good for precious metals.
Mm-hmm.
Cusi historically and with the compliant or the non-compliant resource currently has been 85% silver
Mm-hmm.
by revenue.
Right.
And
Yeah.
going across the Cusi Fault, I mean, that could increase. We're seeing good grades of silver and some gold kickers,
Hmm.
which helps support our thesis that we're actually higher up in the epithermal system, even though we're at depth. So that opens up a tremendous amount of opportunity. So in terms of when we restart, we'll get underground. We've been dewatering Promontorio. That's the access point that was most recently mined by Sierra.
Mm-hmm.
It ends in mineralization. We'll be looking to bring a couple drills underground and start doing some underground drilling.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that will be focused on this down-thrown blocks to the east of the Cusi Fault, as well as just really supporting the mine plan. So lots of opportunity for exploration. I think even though it's a 300-year mine camp, I think we're just getting started in terms of the true potential of this.
Mm-hmm.
And we certainly like to get ourselves demonstrating that as aggressively and prudently as we can. I mean, our targets and game plan for Cusi are to get a mine plan that shows 15 million ounces of mineable resource in front of us, go 3 to 5 years, 100 million ounces of defined resource, and 200 million ounces in drill-ready targets. That's our plan for 2026 as we also bring Cusi into production.
Yeah, so I think it was to the west of this fault, the 300 years or so of mining history, right?
Correct.
And it wasn't until maybe fairly recently that the downtrodden or the area that fell down, that east of the fault was discovered, and now that's I mean, you might have another 300 years.
It's a doppelganger right across this fault. And like I say, it's like you're starting right from surface again because you're higher up in this epithermal
Hmm.
system. So you got lots and lots of potential um, for continuing to see these high grade silver. Like I say, 85% of the resource is silver by revenue.
Oh,
So that should really continue. We just think it's a tremendous opportunity um, that we plan on demonstrating more completely as we move forward.
eighty-five
Great,
percent
Mark.
silver with a little bit of gold kicker. Go ahead, Chen. You have some questions or some
Yeah, I'm just
comments.
curious on the San Miguel. How far is the San Miguel from the mining area? How soon can you access those high grade?
Yeah, good question.
It's a great question. It's right. These are inset claims, so they're right in the claim block. Sierra never had access to them because they were tied up in a bit of litigation. That's been completed. We have acquired the claims. We own them 100%. So from Ontario, where Sierra most recently mined, San Miguel is probably 3 miles to the south. So it's very close. There is a portion of San Miguel that was on the existing claim block, and there's 300 meters of development already. We believe with approximately 300 meters of additional development that will get us to the ore body. And then we probably need another 300 meters to get development started. So call it 600 meters of underground development, and we are ready to be mining out of San Miguel. So as we come out of as we start the restart plan, that will start at Promontorio. As I mentioned, that's the main access that was most recently mined and currently sitting in mineralization. And then we'll get doing that underground development at San Miguel and bring that in line, on to production, probably late 2026 or into 27.
Okay, great. Yeah, that was my question. When can you get that into production? Look like late 2026 to 2027. So you see, you will have a ramp up of the production from 2026. You still has the original Cusi most of 2026, and 2027 you will be potentially San Miguel higher grade and more output.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll late Q2 or more likely very early Q3, we will start underground mining. Promontorio, we've been dewatering. We're basically done now. And we will start ramping that production up in, like I say, beginning of Q3. And we'll be refurbishing the Mel Paso mill in the meantime. It doesn't require much, but a little bit of elbow grease. And through the remainder of the second half of 2026, as you know, we'll be ramping production up with the aim to start into 2027 hand over chest that we are at 1,200 tons per day. And with Promontorio, there's another underground access called Ajuijas, and bringing on San Miguel, we have very good opportunity to make sure that we get high grade ore to the mill, and we get our throughput up, steady state, 2.5 million ounces. San Miguel, perhaps with its higher grade, can get us up closer to 3 million ounces, but that'll be a 2027 exercise for sure.
Wow. For 3 million ounces, how many shares you have outstanding right now?
Currently, we got 32.6 million shares out.
Okay.
No warrants. We do have some standard options for
well,
measurement. But
when you start trading at $3 Canadian, I was like, I was pounding the table, telling my guys to buy it. Yeah, thanks for your compliment. So that was a good buying point, and it has been appreciated. But it looks like it's just getting started. If you can do 3 million ounce of silver at like $20 or maybe lower or in sustainable cost at this silver price, this is you're quite undervalued, it looks like.
Yeah, I think you're bang on, Chen. We're came out of the gate. We've only been trading now for just over a month, so we're still really unknown. We haven't had the opportunity to have the big run up that a lot of our peers have enjoyed. We had a lot of news flow. So the shares today are 560 or 570 Canadian, about $4 a J. I think you mentioned US. We're working pretty hard on getting a US listing, so our US counterparts can join in, and that should happen in Q1 of 2026. But to your point, Jan, we're newly trading. We're still relatively unknown. We've got a lot of news to come out, so I do think those $3 will look really good. But I think there's still a lot of legs to the story as we move forward and ramp up through the remainder of 2026, as well as all the exploration news and the restart plan and the resource update.
Okay. Yeah. Last question, Mark. Who is your largest shareholder?
That's a great question. Eric Sprott individually is the largest shareholder. He participated for roughly $4 million privately. And again, with a tight share structure, we don't have any founder warrants or anything else. So when we started in the market, everybody that invested privately just got a straight pass through. And that's really allowed for this good share structure. But yeah, Eric is our largest shareholder at, like I say, about $4 million worth of stock. So he's a great shareholder to have, obviously, and we have another handful of other really quality names in the story as well.
Yeah, that's a great endorsement to this project.
I mean, it's only about a 5%. If what you're in your deck you talk about, it's only about 5% is in the float or the retail. So obviously, I imagine that number will go up over time. But Mark, one thing I wanted to ask you, I think you said the all-in sustaining cost for the previous producer in 2022 was $23. And if you get up to 95% utilization, I suppose you could kind of pro rata that down in terms of cost. Of course, if you're feeding higher grade into the mill, that's helpful too. But
yeah, I think we'll get our throughput up so we can spread our cost over more ounces, which would be very helpful.
yeah, right.
We do want to make sure we focus on underground development, which requires capital.
Mm-hmm.
That does feed into your AISC to make sure that we are focused on high grade stopes, keeping a mine plan that we can execute on in front of us. But to your point, I think there's great opportunity to bring costs down and just be very focused and disciplined on grade control, efficient tons to the mill, and realizing the full potential of the asset, which really hasn't been done to date for a bunch of reasons. I mean, when it went on care and maintenance in 2023, I think silver prices were below $21. And obviously, we're in a much different environment today.
No kidding. I mean, even if $23 all-in sustaining cost, you're looking at $50-$60 silver at the moment, and could go higher. Who knows? I think Chen, probably you think it will go higher. I don't think you think 60 is the top, right, Chen?
No, I think we are blowing out. Gold is blowing out 50-year trading range, right, which is $50. I expected it going higher. The inventory especially around the world, especially in China, is very, very low. It's a decade low. And then China just listed silver as the critical metal and then put it under the export control starting next year. So I think it's the fun just getting started for silver. I'm quite excited.
Yeah. Mark, maybe just a quick note on your management team aside from yourself. Maybe talk a little bit about your past, but quickly, if you want to talk also about the other members of your team.
Yeah, I mean, I have enjoyed a long career in the business. Most of my skill set, frankly, is taking assets from a development stage and bringing them on through construction and into operations. So my skill set lends itself really well to Cusi.
Yes. Yeah.
It's some very near-term production with some modest capital, and we can put together an excellent team to execute on it. We also got on the team Carlos Beltran. Carlos is a Mexican national geologist. He's got decades of experience. He was the co-discoverer of the Panuco asset that Vizsla has. And he is just an excellent exploration geologist. We've just brought in a VP or a manager of project development that is likely to become the GM. I've got Sean Fallis as my CFO. Sean has got some great history in mining, and he went for a period into IT and had some good success there. I got Nico Harvey, who's a young budding mine engineer, very sharp guy. In his early 30s, I'll probably work for him one day, but in the meantime, we're really happy to have him. And we're building that team out. We've got a couple other announcements we'd like to make here in the near future. On the board, we've got Tim Sorensen. He's been very instrumental in capital markets. We got Greg Bush. Greg is the COO at Heliostar currently. Previously the COO at Capstone. And probably more importantly, he has built and operated 5 mines in northern Mexico, and in fact has a ranch in Chihuahua the state that we're in. So really a lot of good experience there. And then we got Gary Brown, and Gary was the recently retired CFO from Wheaton Precious Metals. So he has a really strong team.
Strong team, yeah.
It's attracting a bunch of other really interesting people. So we're advancing discussions on it with a number of other individuals as we build the team out. At the end of the day, Cusi is a great start. Silverco has been very clear on our main goal and objective, and that is to become a 10 million ounce a year producer in the next 3 years. Cusi, as I mentioned, get us to call it 3 million ounces. We will be looking to add on to Cusi with accretive acquisitions, and that's accretively for ounces, but also accretively for value. Our strategy on M&A is pretty simple. We want to stick to our knitting, so we're looking for assets that we can add value to and that are in a similar jurisdiction where we've got the expertise. So we're not looking to pay for fully valued assets and just enjoy the rise in the silver price. Really important. There's a number of assets out there that are that need some help. Maybe they need access to capital markets. Maybe they need some mining expertise. Maybe they're not the right fit for the particular company they're in. And we've been pretty aggressive in the background on M&A. And we really want to be the next 10 million ounce a year producer. Really the thesis driven by the likes of MAG and Gatos and Silvercrest all being acquired for these great multiples, $1.5 to $2.5 billion.
Yeah.
And that was in a silver price that was closer to $30 rather than a silver price that we're now sitting in at 60. So somebody needs to fill that gap, and we think we get the right shareholder base, the right management team, and the right silver price environment to be that group. So that's the aim. It's pretty lofty, but Cusi is going to be a huge part of that, as well as some of these other opportunities we're looking at.
All right. Some of these other opportunities we're looking at, and you're down there in Mexico City, perhaps looking right at a couple of them. I don't know, but you said before we started recording that you weren't going to the property. I think you were looking at some other possibilities or whatever. So boy, it's pretty exciting, Mark. Just maybe in closing, I guess, what should people be watching for in the near term then? Just news, I guess. Lots of news coming out.
Yeah, so just a reminder for everybody, we're trading under the ticker SICO. We are looking to get a U.S. listing here soon, probably in Q1. Our website is silvercomining.com, so please come check us out. We definitely have a lot of news flow. We're still relatively unknown. I think we got a lot of legs to go to catch up to our peers, and we are moving aggressively to add value both at Cusi and beyond. So really, I think we got a very exciting 2026 ahead of us, and we want to be the go-to Silverco. So really appreciate your time and your time as well, Chen, and your support out there in the market.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Mark, for being with us, and thank you, Chen, also for joining us. That is it for this show. We may have another one. Maybe Chen will come on with me later this week or today sometime to give us his thoughts on some of the other companies that he's following. Next week, I'm going to have Craig Lindsay. He's the CEO, U.S. Operations for Resolution Minerals. They have an exciting gold antimony project in Idaho. Until we meet again, goodbye and God's blessings to you.